So let's talk technology and the elderly. So when we think about technology, every young person knows how to use it. My 4-year-old daughter knows how to use an iPad, an iPhone, different things like that. But some of our older folks, they didn't grow up with these things. So we're having to teach them. We're having to teach them how to use them, how to navigate them. And they actually help increase their quality of life because it allows them to communicate with people, and it helps the staff as well because then we don't have to facilitate that communication all the time. So it kind of frees up a little bit of that time. So I wanted to talk about cell phones for the elderly. So we all know there's different kinds. There's the jitterbug, the track phone, the consumer cellular. The iPhone 6 is a great one for the elderly because it's simple and it's touchscreen. There's tablets. So there's the iPad, the Kindles, the Amazon Fires, different things like that. Something that I recommend for nursing homes is, if you can, try to have videos that kind of explain step by step, and then maybe make a sheet for each type of electronic and have it at your disposal. So if you have a resident that gets an iPad, you can give them this kind of cheat sheet of how to use it to be able to reflect on. That way they can have it as a resource and you have it as well, so that staff doesn't have to spend as much time to sit there and explain it to them. I know right now with COVID going on, you don't have those family members in there as frequently, and visits are limited. So family can't spend the time to explain how to use things. So staff's having to do that more. If you have these kind of printables, these cheat sheets, then that's something that can be helpful and, can be at the disposal of the facility. There's laptops, which I see some residents with them, but not very many. Many of them have more of the tablets, the cell phones. Safety devices. So residents, people out in the community have the life alerts. They have the bells that they have to wear, the alarms, different things like that. And then one that people often forget about is the television. So, now TVs do so many different things that they never used to do before. So talking with the resident when you're doing an activities assessment and finding out what specific channels they like to watch, what kind of shows they like to watch, and giving them a printout of the channel listing and maybe highlighting the specific channels that would be a go-to for them, so that can help them narrow it down. Oftentimes I'll go into residents' rooms and they'll have the TV on and I'll say, "Oh, do you like this?" And they'll say, "No, this is just what was put on." So they're watching something that they don't necessarily enjoy. So if we can help them with that, then that's really beneficial for them and makes their time feel a little bit more meaningful. Some of the benefits of technology is the ability for residents to Facetime and Skype and talk to their family that way. A lot of the facilities have had to do this, and I know that I've done telehealth visits with residents over the iPads and things like that, and that's been such a lifesaver to be able to have right now. But it's something that we also want to continue for family members that live far away or can't get in as often as they'd like to. Just to be able to have that communication at the touch of a fingertip is beneficial. They also have the ability to have music. So things like Pandora and Spotify, that you can have the free versions so that they can listen to music and you can put on specific music that they enjoy. There's Netflix and Hulu and all those different streaming services that you can share with your family members. That way they can watch the shows that they like to watch or get into a new series, something like that, just to fulfill their time. There's the Weather Channel apps and different weather things. I know a lot of residents are into things like that. And of course, reading apps. So, you can get free books. There's Audible, so residents that can't see very well can listen to the books. But the nice thing about reading on a tablet is that you can make the font bigger and you can change the background color. So it makes some people with some visual impairments, it's actually easier for them to do it. Plus, the books are right there. So, they don't have to wait and they don't have them stacked up in their room taking up space that they don't really have a lot of. When I did my research, the best tablet that I found for the elderly was the Kindle Fire. And I actually was just working with a couple residents a few weeks ago on how to use their Kindle Fire, and I was writing down different things, just how you log into Facebook and, can add a friend or bring up a game that they wanted to play. So that was really helpful. There's also, of course, different games that you can get to play. So word games like Elevate, FitBrain, Luminosity, crossword puzzles. Those are so good for people, for their brain. So it's definitely good for the elderly because it keeps that brain active. It keeps them, using it, because if we don't use it, then we start to lose it. And we want to make sure that, they're staying as active as they can as far as their cognition. There's different apps for people that are in the community, like MedMinder, Meal Reminder, and Brain HQ. So it can remind you to take your medications, what medications you have to take. It can remind you to eat, just different little things like that. And like I said, I really suggest that facilities kind of go through different kinds of gadgets that there are out there and make that really simple one-page cheat sheet that they can quickly go through with residents when they get something like that, and then they have it at their disposal. Because technology is here. As my generation gets older, as other generations get older, our internet access is going to have to be better, because you're going to have 50, 100 people in a nursing home on their iPads and iPhones and different things like that. So it's important to be mindful of this elderly population that wants to start to use it as well, and make sure that we can explain it as best as we can.